Bam! You weren't expecting learning to love PlayStation, were you?
Yes. And this is the game that got me to love it.
Hello, I'm a Konos fan. I'm amazing and pleasant, and I could just talk anyone into buying a video game.
And I'm T-Bay, and this is the FTCRLP of Croc,
Gator,
the Legend
Myth
of the Gobos.
Oh man.
So we've got Stefan, Gareth, Mexi, and special patron guest DC Dungeon Master.
Hello, everybody.
Hey. This right off the bat, this opening cutscene is fucking charming as fuck. The instruction manual is charming as fuck. Spoiler alert. Later in this pod, I'm going to read you the entirety of the intro story in the manual. It's 5 pages long, and it's fucking amazing.
This game is so adorable.
This is the story of Moses. Why? I mean, I can't really quite understand this interpretation of the Bible where they turned Moses into a gator, but yeah, for sure, if he's all about freeing the Israelites.
Am I remembering correctly? This was basically the result of a scrapped Yoshi game.
Yeah, this was supposed to be a Yoshi game, but then
So the devs were like, Nintendo said, "Nah, we're going to Fox."
Probably. I don't know the exact timeline of everything. I just know that they were looking at doing the Kirby game. The Kirby game. No, they were looking at doing the Yoshi game. But that's because when you look in the game, there's a lot of things that are like, yeah, that's Yoshi.
I mean that's clearly Gnostic look.
And this came out before Spyro. This came out like
this...
2 years before Spyro.
Yeah, this was a very early PlayStation game, which I think to get off the bat, if somebody were to come into this game today, I can see a lot of people having no patience for the controls.
The backpack's not even on his back.
Yeah, like the tank controls definitely. Honestly, this was the first PlayStation game I ever played. So I had no issues with the tank control because this was my first 3D game. This was this is what got me to expect tank controls in games. So when I ended up playing a game, I want to say it was, I love this theme so much. I have so many nostalgic memories for this theme.
Best music.
When I first played a game without tank controls, which was actually Ocarina of Time, I put it down because it controlled weird. Because I played Croc for so long, it was like it had become second nature. So playing like an analog game was just like, what the hell?
Imagine for a second, we're going to go on a little mental journey here. If instead of transitioning from Croc's tank control to Ocarina of Time's pretty industry standard now way of doing 3D, you went from Croc to Ape Escape. Like, imagine going from tank controls to like analog, because I get the whole like not quite understanding it.
It's so I at that level intro, I was hit with a wave of nostalgia for something.
I love the music. That first open world theme is so calming.
I meant more the kind of loading cutscene where Croc's walking across the screen. Something I used to do as a kid, where if you would squint your eyes, it would make it look like Croc was walking faster. And I had forgotten. So watching this OP in the whenever we go to a new level, squint your eyes, and it'll look like Croc is moving a hell of a lot faster than he normally is.
I'm gonna have to try that.
But no, I have.
I mean, like, I spent my whole time editing it by just scrubbing, so he already looks fast enough.
But it's like I have so many, because this wasn't my first PlayStation game. This was the first PlayStation game I bought with my own money. This was my third PlayStation game after Crash 1 and Toka Touring Racing Cars. You put in the cheat code and play as Tank. My best game ever made. But I have such nostalgia for this game, and especially I had this when I was a kid. Like I had this level down pat where I had played it so much I got so used to the tank controls. it was almost like a like a dance. I knew exactly when to do the flip, when to turn, when to jump. I used to practice this level in such a way where it didn't. I tried to work against the tank controls to make it look not awkward. As Croc would run around the level.
Yeah, this
and
was
then I discovered
the
girls.
game I played the most as a kid. This was the game I played the most as a kid.
Crocs,
It
what?
was a pure... Go ahead.
Oh, fuck. Haha, you're gonna see a lot of that.
You died.
Croc's such a weird game because I didn't grow up with it at all. Like Spyro and Crash, those were my PS1 games, but I didn't play this game at all until like the YouTube era when like you had to watch other people doing LPs of it and being like fascinated by it, and eventually I got to play the game. And what's so weird is that you get such a nostalgic feeling about this game even though I have no nostalgic feelings for the game. That's just how it's designed, how it looks. Like I'm gonna steal from Kid Icarus's review where he says the game is flawed, but ultimately it gets by on complete charm alone.
It's flawed in all the right ways. It is such a charming, yet it's almost like it's perfect in its flaws. Like it's flawed in just the right ways that you don't care.
You know, I would
flaws.
actually equate this somewhat to something like Sonic Lost World, in a sense that's like, I don't think Croc is a broken game or anything. I think Croc does, like with Lost World, they accomplish everything they set out to do. It's just that not everything they set out to do is a good idea.
I'll agree with you there.
I think in some situation, because like I would probably say in most cases Croc's tank controls fit the level design more than Lost World's weird.
I'll give it.
This is a game that knows its limitations and is built around.
Exactly.
That.
Squint your eyes, everyone. Squint your eyes. Squint your eyes. He was faster. Look at him. His legs go faster. Gotta go fast.
You're right. Holy shit, you're right.
Well, yeah, it's sort of a trick with perception. You kind of do the same thing if you remove the reference points that an object is moving. It looks like it moves faster.
Don't bring your science into this, Mexi. This is childhood nostalgia.
No, back to Croc. No, guys, keep go on. Go on.
We were talking about the opening cutscene. Can I just say the opening cutscene of Croc 2 scared the crap out of me as a kid?
No, we are not going to talk about Croc 2 now. This is Croc 1.
I have also never played Croc 2, so I don't care.
That intro cutscene is one of the scariest things I saw as a kid.
I love that every level is basically just like a floating platform in the middle of nothing.
Yeah, like that's kind of a lot of what I at least noticed with Croc's design is that it's very much just trying to be a platformer but in 3D. Like there's something very tied into how this game was designed that like it's very much a product of the time it was developed. Like you could definitely tell that if maybe it was developed later, more people were used to like 3D designing.
This game is so adorable.
I love it when you say it's a product of its time. You make it sound like Croc is your racist grandfather.
Oh. Joke's on you. None of my uncles are racist.
But are your uncles crocodiles?
I mean, sure.
Every
We
time
don't talk much about that side of the family, though.
Sorry, every time we go into a dungeon in this dungeon-themed place, I have so many nostalgic memories. Like, if there's one thing that piques my nostalgia with this game more than anything, it's the music. I love Croc's music so much.
It's
Who composed it?
Let me check.
the manual. Let me see.
And then follow-up question after you do the research for us, what do you go on
Music
to
and sound.
do?
It says in the credits it just has music and sound effects by Karen Griffin, Martin Gwyn Jones, and Justin Shavova.
Saboba?
Shavona. My Shavona.
Sharona.
But yeah, apparently the only. Okay, so apparently all of the voice talent is Jonathan Arras. Like I say, Croc is one of the most goddamn fucking most adorable characters in video game history. I would give my life to defend this pure boy.
It's a gator with a
snaggletooth
and a
when I was a
backpack
kid,
that just
I would
hovered.
do nothing but ground pound just because I loved his little quotes. Yazoo! Wahoo!
I mean, it's
Shazam!
I mean, I mean, I think anyone who's ever watched the Kid Icarus video will recognize, you know, Kersplat!
Yeah.
Kersplat!
You know,
Like, oh my god, that
one thing,
I love this fucking crocodile.
one minor gameplay element that is slightly annoying is the fact that enemies will always respawn.
They're based on time, not on anything else. It's like you leave them like alone for 2 seconds and they'll come back.
Well, it's 10 seconds.
That's
it's like
too
about 10
much
seconds.
fucking time. You know what? Stefan, do you wanna give a little? I mean, I know we've briefly talked about it, but if you wanna give a quick breakdown on how the controls work, once we get that out the way, I will read the first part of this epic, this Game of Thrones-esque introduction in the Croc manual.
So it's tank controls, so you turn left and right to just turn Croc left and right, and then you press forward to go up. If you press backwards, he'll walk backwards instead of actually turning. So what you basically have to do is, like you said, you turn left, walk forward, turn right. But thankfully, for the most part, most of the platforms and stuff are big enough that you can kind of work around it. And also, when you're moving, you can slightly move left and right, so it's not like you can go completely straight. So there is...
Yeah, it's not like Resident Evil where you have to, like, stop to turn. Goddamn!
That's
killed that Gobo!
That's so satisfying.
It's like you can steer. It's like you can steer while moving forward, and you can technically strafe while jumping.
You can strafe by jumping, and you can strafe normally, like with the L1 and R1, but it's like,
That's right.
I don't really need it a lot, because you don't really need to do it most of the time.
I love the instant backflip move. If you're running forward, I think if you press like circle,
The triangle button, I think.
well, you know, let me check the manual.
Like, it's straight up for the, even though it has the sort of the forbidden tank controls.
No, I was correct.
This
I was
game
correct.
controls.
Stefan, it's circle. Fuck you.
Oh, oops.
Like,
been a
even
while
though this
since I
has
played
the
this.
Pressing triangle.
Ah.
In the menu, it says triangle button. Activate Croc Cam. What the fuck is Croc Cam?
Oh, that
in
it's
first
front-
person.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Ow. Oops, yeah. So the one problem with the tank controls is that if you get into a spot, it's really hard to get out of it, so...
Yeah.
I believe
then
on,
you've got
on,
But
on,
other than that, I'd say this game really controls damn near as perfectly as you could ever
for
expect
tank,
a game
for
with
tank controls,
to
yeah. I
do.
mean, I forget.
This is the ideal tank control game for me. Like, it just
So
controls
what you're saying
so
is
well
we need
for-
Croc in Resident
for-
Evil 1.
It just happens to be in a
Yes! Croc would be unstoppable in Resident Evil 1.
No, Stefan, I forget the little diamond things. They're like Sonic's rings, aren't they? As long as you have one, you can't
Yeah.
die.
they're-
In the first game. In
Yeah,
the second game, they were
We're
currency.
not
because
talking
the
about
second game
Croc
went
2
for
because
more.
I haven't played it. I don't know what you're talking about.
So the whole setup of the game is essentially here's one of the many games where you gotta guess.
No, you can clearly just
I
follow
was
him.
never good at these as a
They
kid.
move
Ever.
so slowly.
I am a master at this. All right, so
You
the
know
whole
what it was? For me, whenever the box would turn, they would always it always seemed like I would always have the camera angle where it would make them seem like they were clipping, and that would always throw me off as a kid.
Okay, so the setup of the game is that there are 4 worlds in the game. Each world has 6 main levels, and between every 3 levels, there's a boss. And so in every level, you find 5 colored gems and 5 gobos. If you get all 5 of the colored gems, then you can unlock a secret door at the end of the level that gets you the 6th gobo. You get all 6 gobos in each of the 3 levels, then you unlock a special level. Beat that special level, you get a puzzle piece. So you get the 2 puzzle pieces in each of the 4 levels, then you can unlock the final bonus world, which gets you the true ending. Although
But how many jiggies do we need to turn in at the end?
although ultimately, I mean, the end result honestly isn't really worth it. It's more so just kind of for your own personal. The game is basically for your own personal achievement. Like, yeah, I beat Croc. Not really that. Oh, you don't really get anything satisfying for beating Croc.
Well, what is the if we want to get into it, what is the difference between the normal and the true ending?
Well, the normal ending is you fight the final boss and you save everyone. Then the true ending is that you go to a special crystal world where it turns out the final boss didn't actually die. You beat the final boss in a stupidly pathetic, terrible boss fight, and the game ends.
Stefan, it's only...
And then Croc gets a letter from King Mickey.
Stefan, that's the final boss fight is only stupidly pathetic if you can exploit the bad level design. If you try and fight that thing correctly, it's annoying as fuck.
Then it's annoying.
Because as a kid, for years, I couldn't, not for years, but for a while, I couldn't defeat the final boss. I went back to it when I was older. I was like, whoever designed this level was a fucking idiot. Because you can finish it in like 4 seconds if you know what you're doing.
Spoiler alert in 12 parts. Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, it's such a good way to fucking jinx the game. But, boys, I'm going to... Just before we get to the end of the poem, I'm gonna read the first page.
Do it.
I'll break it up into a few different parts, but the Croc Manual has Introduction, The Legend of the Gobos, Chapter 1, in which the Gobos are described. Who were the Gobos? Examine ancient paintings from the time of their civilization, and you will find that the Gobos were a short, furry people who can be politely described as gerbilesque. But what of their soul? Their character. One historian wrote that the Gobos were among the most advanced civilizations of their day, making great strides in science and literature. A people whose intelligence shines like a beacon in the night. It should be noted that this historian was himself a Gobo, and not only made numerous grammatical errors in his account, but also misspelled Gobo. No,
but also what?
But also misspelled Gobo. No, the Gobos.
I was wondering, they left out the fact that they're flammable. Like, that was clearly highlighted in the intro video.
No, the Gobos were a simple people, a race whose greatest inventions were edible deodorant and the wind-powered cow moistener. In over 2,000 years of existence, the Gobos only sent 3 of their kind to college, and 2 of those were returned postage due. Okay, so they weren't the sharpest pins in the cushion, but were they lovable? You bet. So lovable, they would often keep each other as pets. But oddly enough, it was their very lovability, their very kind-hearted innocence, that set in motion a chain of events that would send the Gobos plummeting towards a terrifying fate, a fate worse than death, a fate so frightening that those with heart conditions may wish to stop reading now. ... Although it's really not that frightening.
Okay, I need to pause you for a second there because I fucking hate these mini games.
Just walk back and forward.
The only way to do it
sideways.
is you have to you have to jump back and forth, but the controls, because they're really finicky, if you screw up once, then you got everything fucked up, so you miss a whole bunch of sheep, and then you don't get the Gobo, so you gotta do the whole level over again.
That's some bullshit.
I was gonna say, I'm guessing
Just
this
turn
isn't
sideways.
100% final
No,
true ending.
this is 100%. Just gotta do it again.
Oh!
Look at him go.
With edit speed.
That didn't work.
How many
Okay.
times is it? Oh, this case is 3.
If we're lucky.
No sheeps were actually harmed
If
and
we're
making
lucky-
this
Anyways, you were
like-
saying,
oh my-
Gareth?
Stefan, what the fuck, man? The camera fades, but you could just edit it in the correct version of this part. Stefan, what are you doing to me?
Stefan, how many
Eventually.
how many tries does it take you?
There we go.
Honestly, it took me like 6 or 7 tries to do this.
That sucks.
Thankfully, I think there are only like 3 or 4 of these actual mini games that you have to do. Although one of them you have to do in the middle of one of the final levels, and it's such a pain in the ass. But I did it. You fucking Gobo piece of shit. How come you got stuck here?
Hey, you watch it. That little, what was
Yeah.
it, gerbil-esque furball is adorable.
Damn right.
Alright? You watch her.
Anyways,
you watch
continue,
yourself,
Gareth.
Stefan. You're adorable
Wait,
too, but
first
I will
we
not
gotta see our
hesitate.
first boss, Feeble. Which are the greatest designed bosses in all of history.
That's that
Baron
strikes
Dante.
me like that strikes fear.
So just like Yoshi's Island, he takes a little animal, but he turns him into this.
A walking erection. He runs like Sonic. Look at him go.
No, all he did was give him consciousness, so now he just questions his existence and wants to die.
I can relate.
You can continue with the synopsis.
Okay, I will just read the. Okay, I got time probably for the next part. So, chapter 2, in which a crocodile is found. It all started one morning in the third month of the year of the soup spoon, and it has appendice 1. At the start of each year, the Gobbo High Priestess would announce the kitchen utensil that, when put down their pants, would bring good luck. Gobbos take this very seriously, although some began to question the practice during the year of the electric can opener. King Rufus the Intolerant, appendice 2. People far and wide heard of King Rufus the Intolerant and feared him for his name alone. Of course, the Gobbos knew him by his full name, King Rufus the Lactose Intolerant, and therefore only feared him after a big bowl of cottage cheese. King Rufus the Intolerant, ruler of the Gobbos, was down by the riverbank watching the sunrise. He had just finished breathing a sigh of relief that once again the sun had returned. I'd forgot about that part. That's amazing.
So much.
When suddenly a small basket floated ashore. He and a group of his Gobbo subjects huddled around it. Peering inside, they saw a baby crocodile. Naturally, they assumed he must be the early leader in the. Oh, this is a line that would not make it in today's society. He and his group of Gobbo subjects huddled around.
Wait 1 second.
Oh, battery died.
I just got to check. All right. So let me just. Oh yeah, analog mode.
Oh my god!
This is a thing that I do in all the boss fights because since they're just in one long thing, I changed to analog mode because it actually works better.
Whoa.
Except I got hit, so don't worry about that. These guys are pathetic.
Can you actually play the whole game with analog controls?
Yep. Although honestly, the analog controls in the main levels aren't that good.
Gotcha.
But the analog controls make the bosses like such a joke. Like if you try to use them with the regular controls, it's so annoying trying to walk in these like 3D spaces.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah,
But
because
yeah,
like this rotation,
even though I got hit,
like
the bosses,
this
these bosses
rotation,
are
you
pathetic.
can't do in the normal.
Smack.
Wow.
No death
yeah.
animation. It's just
the
smack.
Dr. Seuss book, dude. He's got like the
He's
star
frozen
pointed
in
guy.
fear. I will continue the story in the next part because I believe we're about to end.
It was just
Yeah,
a chicken.
so that sort of rotational like you can't do that in the normal game, right?
No, you can.
Oh.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
Shows what you
Join
know.
us in part 2.